Rewriting Genetic Fate, the Future of Newborn Genomic Screening. Transforming Genetic Destiny, the Arrival of Universal Newborn Genomic Screening. Imagine a world where every newborn is screened for genetic risks, a vision we explored in our book, Destiny's Child No Longer, Rewriting Genetic Fate *, https://www.amazon.com/destinies-child-no-longer-rewriting-ebook/b0f9lj89cf. This future, where the unpredictability of genetic inheritance is met with informed knowledge, preparation, and timely intervention, is swiftly becoming a reality on both sides of the Atlantic. In a groundbreaking announcement, the United Kingdom's National Health Service (NHS) has unveiled a plan, https://www.bbc.com/news/articles/c1ljg7v0vmpo, to provide whole genome sequencing for every newborn. Simultaneously, Florida has initiated the Sunshine Genetics Act, https://newsfsuedu News Health Medicine Florida surges to forefront of rare disease research with boost from Sunshine Genetics Act, paving the way for a statewide pilot program focused on newborn genomic screening. These initiatives mark a significant evolution in public health, poised to revolutionize the diagnosis, prevention, and treatment of rare diseases for generations to come. The UK's ambitious national rollout. Over the next decade, the NHS will implement a comprehensive DNA analysis for every newborn in England. This initiative builds upon the successful Generation Study, https://www.genomiciusengland.uk/initiatives/newborns, which sequenced the genomes of 100,000 infants to identify over 200 rare, treatable genetic conditions. With a commitment of £650 million, the government aims to transition from the traditional heel-prick blood test, currently screening for only 9 conditions, to a more advanced system capable of detecting hundreds of single-gene disorders and complex disease risk factors. This program signifies a shift from reactive healthcare to proactive, personalized medical care. By identifying potential disease risks at birth, the NHS aspires to alleviate the burden of illness and promote longer, healthier lives. By 2030, every newborn in England will be eligible for whole genome sequencing, positioning the UK as a global leader in genomic medicine. This initiative sets a benchmark for how large-scale, ethically responsible genetic screening can be integrated into national healthcare systems, benefiting future generations. Florida's Sunshine Genetics Act, a US model emerges. Meanwhile, Florida is making significant strides in rare disease research with the enactment of the Sunshine Genetics Act. Signed into law in July 2025, this legislation initiates a 5-year pilot program to sequence the genomes of newborns across the state. The Act allocates $3 million to the Sunshine Genetics pilot program and establishes the Florida Institute for Pediatric Rare Diseases at Florida State University, with additional funding from state and university sources. Importantly, the program emphasizes that participation is voluntary and requires parental consent. The Sunshine Genetics Consortium, https://news.fayud.edu/2025/named-to-new-medicine-consortium, has been formed under this act, bringing together leading researchers, clinicians, and biotech innovators from Florida's premier institutions. Their mission is clear: to expedite diagnosis, develop new treatments, and eliminate the diagnostic journey faced by families dealing with one of the over 7,000 rare diseases affecting 30 million Americans. Implications and future directions. The initiatives in the UK and Florida represent a transformative shift in our approach to disease, a change we anticipated. Early findings from various studies indicate that genome sequencing can uncover actionable conditions and diseases much earlier than traditional screening methods. This early detection allows for interventions that can significantly alter a child's life trajectory. However, this new approach is not without its challenges. Ethical concerns surrounding consent, privacy, and the risk of genetic discrimination must be carefully navigated. These issues require thoughtful oversight and consideration. Additionally, Ensuring equitable access to these technologies is a global concern that will remain critical as new advancements emerge. Continuous research and public discourse will be vital to guarantee that the advantages of genomic medicine are accessible to all. Humanizing the science. Consider the poignant story of a family whose newborn was diagnosed with a rare metabolic disorder through genomic screening, well before any symptoms would have manifested. Thanks to early intervention, they were able to implement dietary changes that prevented irreversible neurological damage. Such stories are becoming increasingly common as these programs expand, highlighting the profound human impact of scientific advancements. As we foresaw in Destiny's Child no longer https://www.amazon.com/destiny's-child-no-longer-ebook/b0f9lj89cf. We are on the brink of a new era in universal newborn genomic screening. The UK and Florida are at the forefront of this movement, showcasing both the potential and the responsibilities that come with reshaping genetic destiny. Their experiences will not only inform global efforts but will also help create a future where every child's genetic fate is not only understood but can be positively influenced. The future of genetic testing, weighing the benefits and risks. Imagine having the power to predict your child's health future through a simple DNA test. It sounds like science fiction, but this is the reality that's fast approaching the National Health Service, NHS. The UK government's ambitious 10-year health plan for England aims to provide a genomic test for every newborn baby by 2035. This is a bold step into the future of medicine, but it's not without its controversies. Currently, when a baby is born, a heel-prick test screens for 9 rare conditions using biochemical markers. The new plan would revolutionize this process by sequencing every newborn's entire genome, looking for changes in genes associated with over 200 conditions. This isn't to replace the heel-prick test, which will continue regardless of parental choice. It's an additional layer of genetic insight that could potentially save lives and improve health outcomes. But here's where it gets controversial. Genetic screening is not a crystal ball. While modern science has linked certain genetic variants to specific diseases, many others remain unclassified. These variants of uncertain significance could be harmless, beneficial, or harmful. This project could fill in many of those gaps, but it also raises complex ethical questions. One major concern is the predictive power of DNA. DNA is not a deterministic code. Factors like incomplete penetrance, variable expressivity, and environmental influences play crucial roles in disease development. Incomplete penetrance means some individuals with a specific genetic mutation might never develop the associated disease. Variable expressivity refers to the severity or type of symptoms once a condition is present. And let's not forget the powerful influence of the environment on disease presence. But what about the psychological impact? Knowing your genetic susceptibility to a disease like diabetes could lead to behavior modification, but it could also cause unnecessary anxiety. The question becomes, is the potential benefit worth the potential harm? The Generation study, led by Genomics England, aims to sequence the genomes of newborn babies on a massive scale. The data will be interpreted using AI to predict and prevent genetic illnesses before symptoms appear. However, this raises ethical dilemmas. Parents will be told about their child's genetic predispositions before the child can consent. This knowledge could cause significant anxiety and stress, especially if it reveals a non-curable condition. Should we limit genetic testing to a predefined panel of conditions where early treatment makes a significant impact? What makes a disease treatable anyway? The answer is not black and white and raises further ethical questions. Moreover, even if we limit the scope of testing, patients will know that the data exist. The knowledge of genetic information, once sequenced, cannot be unsequenced. This creates a moral burden for doctors, geneticists, and academics. What about patients? If they know the data exist but are withheld due to deemed non-actionable conditions, they might demand the information and pay third parties to interpret the results, risking a two-tier system where genomic knowledge is only available to the wealthy. And then there's the slippery slope of discrimination. Genetic data, like identity, can be misused. Insurance companies, employers, and others may seek access to this information. The acquisition of this data creates a layer of vulnerability that understandably makes many nervous. Despite these concerns, the potential benefits of genetic testing cannot be ignored. Early identification of conditions like spinal muscle atrophy can significantly improve outcomes and slow disease progression. This debate is complex, fascinating, and ultimately, crucial for the future of healthcare. As Arya Anthony Karmiab, a doctor working in the northeast of England, notes, "We are reshaping healthcare and shifting the timeline for when medicine begins. But this comes with risks and ethical questions that must be carefully considered." So, what do you think? Is the potential benefit worth the potential risks? Or do the ethical concerns outweigh the potential benefits? Let's start a conversation in the comments below. Genomics in the NHS, transforming healthcare and protecting national security. The transformative power of genomics for our National Health Service is undeniable, but what happens when groundbreaking science becomes a national security liability? Picture this: the very DNA of every British newborn potentially accessible to foreign powers. That's the high-stakes reality we face with the NHS's ambitious genome project, and here's why it demands urgent scrutiny. Having dedicated my career to healthcare before entering Parliament, I've witnessed how early diagnosis and personalised treatment can revolutionise patient outcomes. The NHS's bold £650 million plan to sequence every UK newborn's genome holds extraordinary promise, detecting rare conditions at birth, tailoring precision treatments, and fundamentally reshaping healthcare from infancy onward. Combined with artificial intelligence, this could transition our system from reactive crisis management to proactive prevention, easing pressures on frontline services while building a more resilient NHS. But here's where it sparks fierce debate: can we ensure this sensitive data remains strictly protected? Genomic information isn't just personal, it's the ultimate biological fingerprint. Once exposed, it can't be reset like a password or replaced like a credit card. Yet serious concerns linger about who accesses this data, where it's stored, and crucially, who's permitted to handle it. This isn't hypothetical fearmongering. Foreign companies linked to authoritarian regimes, particularly China's Beijing Genomics Institute, BGI, group, raise alarming red flags. Operating under Beijing's direct control since the 2020 National Security Law, BGI subsidiaries already face US sanctions for alleged surveillance, data misuse, and military ties. When China openly treats global genomic data as a strategic asset for acquisition and exploitation, trusting them with our infants' DNA becomes unthinkable. And here's the uncomfortable truth often downplayed: the government's China audit failed spectacularly to address these security implications. Published over a year late, it glossed over trade relations while ignoring critical questions about parliamentarians under Chinese sanctions or the national security risks of academic collaborations. This evasion is inexcusable when handling our most sensitive health data. So where's the solution? We must restrict involvement exclusively to UK institutions and trusted allied partners with absolute transparency about data handling protocols. Furthermore, technological innovation mustn't sacrifice accessibility. As AI transforms diagnostics and triage, we must prevent marginalization of vulnerable groups like the elderly or disabled who already struggle with digital systems. The Newborn Genome Project could position Britain as a medical research pioneer, but enthusiasm mustn't override vigilance. Its success hinges on three non-negotiable pillars: ironclad ethics, democratic oversight, and watertight legal safeguards. Now it's your turn to weigh in. Should national security concerns override scientific collaboration, even with transformative health benefits at stake? Where's the line between medical progress and biological sovereignty? Voice your perspective below.